Hello and welcome to this last part of my lecture series on Khuswant Singh's Karma. I have titled this lecture Narrative Aspects in the Story. So we'll pick up on some of the narrative and structural issues which have not been considered in the previous sessions, and we'll take a good look at them today. Now, I want to begin by focusing on the point of view. So, what exactly is the point of view or the perspective in the story? How is it told? Who is it told by? So, we have the third person point of view in the story. This is narrated by a third person narrator who doesn't participate in the story. So, we have a non-participating narrator who tells us the story, and this point of view, that is the third person point of view, is pretty consistent in the story. There isn't any great narrative shifts in point of view. Okay, so what sort of narrator is this person? This narrator is very well informed. This narrator is highly intelligent, and he has a very good understanding of the consciousness of the central character and some of the minor characters in the story as well. So we have a solid narrator who is omniscient in some sense, because this narrator is well aware of the events that are happening in this particular story world. Now, I want to talk a little bit about free indirect discourse, because this free indirect discourse type of narration is evident in Khuswant Singh's Karma. So, let's see first what exactly this type of discourse is. It is a style of third person narration that easily slips into reporting the actual point of view, speech, thought or feelings of characters, but without quotation marks. At times, it is difficult to separate the narrator's voice from the voice of the character. So, we have the point of view about a set of characters that are reported in the text without the quotation marks. And this is the first thing to notice about free indirect discourse. And the second thing which I think is very significant is that it is difficult to separate or distinguish between the narrator's voice and the voice of the character. It seems that there is a blend between these two types of narrative discourse. So, we do not know who exactly is commenting or who exactly is thinking these thoughts. So, it becomes difficult to separate the narrator's voice or commentary from the voice of the character. Now, just to be absolutely sure what is the difference between direct discourse and indirect discourse and free indirect discourse, I will briefly give you the definition for each of these categories. So, what exactly is direct discourse? Direct discourse is the report of words actually used. So, we have quotation marks which enclose the words spoken. And I'm giving you the example from the story in question for this week, which is Karma. And I'll have you arrested. Guard, guard are the words spoken by Sir Mohan Lal. So, we have the report of words here, and we have quotation marks that enclose or contain these words spoken by the character in question here. So, this is direct discourse. Before I move on to what exactly is indirect discourse, I hope you know what is the meaning of discourse. Do check it out. Discourse is about discourse means simply speech. It could be spoken words, or it could be words that are written down. So, it's not a terribly difficult concept to understand. Now, what exactly is indirect discourse? Indirect discourse means the indirect report of words, not the direct but the indirect report of words or thoughts without quotation marks. So again, I'm giving you an example from our text Karma. This is a statement taken from the story. Sir Mohan wondered if he would be traveling alone, and this is a thought by the character when he is going to board the train, and he wonders if he is going to be traveling alone without any companions in the first class compartment. So this is an indirect reporting of thoughts that the central character has. Now, I want to look at a particular extract from the story in the context of free indirect discourse, and this is a perfect passage to do such a reading, and I have taken this excerpt from the story Karma. Then followed Sir Mohan's handsome gold cigarette case filled with English cigarettes. English cigarettes in India? How on earth did he get them? Sure, he didn't mind. And Sir Mohan's understanding smile, of course he didn't mind, but could he use the Englishman as a medium to commune with his dear old England? So, to give a little bit of context for this passage, this is a part of the set of inventory that Sir Mohan has to attract the attention of the English gentleman who would be traveling with him. So he has the whiskey and he has the cigarettes as well in order to attract the English passengers. So this gold cigarette case is pretty attractive, and it is filled with English cigarettes. And the following set of questions are very, very interesting in terms of the narration. So, English cigarettes in India, how on earth did he get them? Sure, he didn't mind. So, these questions are some of the questions that are typically asked by his audience, who would be the English gentleman traveling with him. So these questions are woven into the discourse, woven into the narrative point of view by the author, and we do not have quotation marks here as well, something that we need to keep in mind. So these questions are so typical that the narrator kind of compiles them into that narrative without having a particular gentleman or gentleman speak these questions or utter these questions. So these are from the typical audience of Sir Mohan, who are impressed and surprised, and they admire the fact that he has English cigarettes on Indian soil. And something else that we need to note is that he has the narrator has made sure that he also included the etiquette of the gentleman who asked these questions in a particular manner. So this is a very, very interesting excerpt to analyze in terms of the narrative point of view. And again, this phrase, Mohan's understanding smile, of course he didn't mind, is very interesting because we do not know whether he smiles and then says of course he didn't mind, or the narrator is interpreting that smile as of course he didn't mind. So there are two things happening there, the smile and the question and the statement of course he didn't mind, and the smile as an interpretation of course he didn't mind. So we have a example of indirect discourse here too, and a very, very subtle interpretation happening there too. So there is a slight ambiguity as to whether it is the thought of Sir Mohanlal or whether it is the narrator's interpretation, or whether it is Sir Mohanlal's question there mentioned by the narrator. So it's a very ambiguous set of ideas and notions that are there in the extract. Now, the last statement that I have included in that excerpt is this one. But could he use the Englishman as a medium to commune with his dear old England? Again, this question has a slight ambiguity, which is this. Is this the narrator's assessment, the narrator's commentary, the narrator's judgment of Sir Mohanlal, or is this a record of Sir Mohanlal's thought? Is this a record of Sir Mohanlal's thought process communicated to us by the narrator? Or is this an actual request of Sir Mohanlal that the narrator captures in writing for us? Again, there is a complex ambiguity here in this statement from this particular extract, and it just tells us how rich the passage becomes, the thought processes of the character and the narrator becomes when we kind of study the passage from the point of view analysis. So there is complexity, there is a lot of layers that needs to be unraveled to get at the meaning that the author of the story wants to convey in this particular short story. Now, what are all the possible benefits that can accrue to the author to employ when he or she is employing free indirect discourse? The very first thing would be to get the sympathy of the reader. So, when the reader is given a really good understanding and a close understanding of the various thought processes and ideas and feelings and intuitions of the central characters, of course, such a narration would evoke the sympathy of the reader. That's one thing. The other thing is that such free indirect discourse will unravel or reveal the real or the true identity of the character whose thoughts and whose ideas are being narrated in such a fashion. So the real identity, the psychological makeup of the central character would be manifested for the benefit of the reader. Now, the other benefits or the positive impulses that are available in the employment of free indirect discourse are these. A writer can both maintain the public or the objective stance of the third person narrator, that's one thing, and the author can also create a sense of the interior life of the character. So two possibilities are available to the writer who employs free indirect discourse. There is this objective side to the narration, the very, very fair, direct style of narration where there is a lot of objectivity, as well as there is the possibility to be allowed to use the subjective side to characters, in that their interior life will be discussed in detail when the free indirect discourse captures the thought process and the emotions and the feelings of the central character. Now, how do we understand the free indirect discourse in the context of Khuswant Singh's karma? What are the implications? What are the messages? What are the significances of such a narrative viewpoint in this particular story? So, when we get a good idea of the thinking of the central character, we do get a good understanding, a complete understanding of the psyche or the psychological processes of the central character, Sir Mohanlal. That's one thing. The other thing is that we understand, or we get a sense, we get a clue as to the possibility of the narrator of the this story. We kind of get a sense that he or she is mocking at times the central character, Sir Mohanlal. There is irony in some of the words employed by the narrator, and there is also greater sarcasm in the words or the commentary of the narrator. So we get a lot of perspectives. We get an understanding from several different angles of the central character, and we also get the interpretation, the slant of the narrating psyche too. Now, I want to give another example in this context, and this is from the later stages of the story when two soldiers board the train, and there is a confrontation between the soldiers and Sir Mohanlal when the soldiers ask him to leave the compartment, and Sir Mohanlal is scandalized. He talks to the two soldiers in his Oxford accent, and the soldiers paused. It almost sounded like English, but they knew better than to trust their inebriated ears. So here, the fact that they knew better than to trust their drunken ears, listening skills, tells us that the narrator is aware of the thought process of the soldiers too. He has entered their consciousness, and he gives us what they think. He tells the readers what these drunken soldiers think on hearing the good English, on the Oxford English of Sir Mohanlal. So this narrator is able to enter the internal consciousness of these minor characters too, and he tells the readers that there is disbelief on the part of the two soldiers who cannot trust, who don't trust their ears when they hear a native's fluent English. And that's a very, very interesting viewpoint. But the point I am trying to make here is that this narrator is omniscient in the sense that he is able to enter the minds and thought process of the minor characters too, if he wants to. Now, let me also briefly pick up on the narrator in terms of the narration that is accorded to her personality. So, Lakshmi, the wife of Sir Mohanlal, do not get a lot of narrative space in the story, but whatever lines she gets are very, very important. And this narrator doesn't enter too much into her thought process, perhaps because the narrator wants to keep the unity of effect in the story, and if he delves too much into the thought process of Lakshmi, then maybe that unity, that coherence to the story might be lost. So he spends very little narrative energy on Lakshmi, but on the one or two ideas that are thrown about her are very influential and interesting and significant. So here we have a line from the narrator about what her likes and dislikes, her predilections are, and the narrator says she was fond of a little gossip. The word fond is very, very interesting. She loved to gossip a little, and had no one to talk to at home. So that contrast here between her fondness and her disappointment in that she doesn't realize her pleasures in life gives a bit of poignancy about her state of affairs. So we are kind of told about her isolation and how she is cheated of her passion in her married state. So these snippets of narrative viewpoints are very interesting in the sense that they give a wholesome or a holistic perspective of what life was like in the story world of karma. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this structural aspect of the title and its significance. So, what exactly is karma. How do we understand the term karma? Here I have a definition, and this is what the definition says. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existence viewed as deciding their fate in future existences. So whatever your actions have been in your previous and your present state, your present life will decide the fate of your future lives. So if you do good in your past and your present, your future life will be good too. If you do the reverse, if you do bad things in the previous life and this life, then your future life will also be evil for you, will be difficult for you. So informally, the word means good or bad luck viewed as resulting from one's actions, which, as I said, if you do good things will happen to you. If you do bad things will happen to you. So what is the karma of Sir Mohanlal? That would be the logical question to ask. So let's look at his punishments, his comeuppance, his rewards in the story. His getting thrown out of the train is one of the major punishments that he receives at the end of the story. It's a physical assault, it's a physical injury, and it is really brutal, both to his physique and to his psyche. And the second punishment that he receives is that his wife spits out of the train just after he has fallen off it, and that's a very, very interesting gesture. So being spat at from the train, not deliberately, not purposefully, but the two things happen one after the other. The husband falls out of the train and the wife spits at out of the window of the train as the train is departing. So Mohanlal is left behind, injured and insulted. So these are the two punishments, the karma that he receives at the end of the story. Now, so the title in such a set of circumstances is very, very befitting. It's an appropriate title in the Indian context. And what exactly is the importance of the title? It justifies this belief that what you sow, you will reap. So he insulted and isolated a certain set of people, and he gets his comeuppance for that. So I want to talk a little bit about this idea of insult and isolation. So he insulted both his countrymen and his family and his wife especially. He also isolated them, treated them as second-class citizens, as servants, as slaves, and therefore he gets the same kind of treatment from the English people whom he kind of trusted and admired and looked up to. So that is the biggest karma that he gets at the finale of the story. Now, irony. I want to talk about irony as well, because there's quite a lot of this aspect of narration in this particular story. So what is irony? How do you define irony? Irony occurs or happens when there is an unexpected difference or lack of agreement between appearance and reality. So you expect one thing, but you get another thing. You consider a situation to be a particular thing, but in reality it happens to be something else. So there is a mismatch between appearance and truth. There is a mismatch between expectations and reality, what actually happens. So there are quite a number of instances of irony in the story, and irony can be used with the help of language, with the help of language in the sense that language kind of builds this contrast or the difference or the distinction between what is apparently true and what is the actuality or the reality in life. And sometimes the readers are aware of what is going to happen while the characters themselves are unaware of the reality of things to come. So in the case of karma, when we see these two drunken soldiers walk in and talk gruffly and roughly to Sir Mohanlal, we do get a sense that things are not going to go well for Sir Mohanlal, and he might be possibly be assaulted. But Sir Mohanlal is unaware of such a state of things that might happen to him. So, the irony on the whole is in the fact that Sir Mohanlal believes all Englishmen to be cultured. That's his biggest flaw. For him, all Englishmen are part of this upper class society, and they all behave in superior ways, and that is not the reality. That's just a facade, but Sir Mohanlal understands that that is the gospel's truth. So that that impression of Sir Mohanlal is deconstructed, is destroyed when he is proved wrong in that crisis at the end of the story, when he is attacked by these two English soldiers. So his faith in the superior nature of English men and English society is destroyed at the end of the story. I also want to quickly look at the particular passage when he first sees these two soldiers walk along the platform, and I want to read the irony that's coded in that description. They had their haversacks, that is the two soldiers, they had their haversacks slung behind their backs and walked unsteadily. Sir Mohan decided to welcome them, even though they were entitled to travel only second class. He would speak to the guard. So let's first look at what is the meaning of the word haversack. It means a big bag, a small, strong bag carried on the back or over the shoulder, used especially by soldiers and workers. And this idea of the two soldiers carrying their big bags on their shoulders is very interesting, because it also evokes another scene when Sir Mohanlal is enjoying his drink and he asks his bearer to carry the bags onto the compartment. So this is the extract in which that reference is made. He continued to sip his scotch and ordered the bearer to tell him when he had moved the luggage to a first class compartment. So he has his bearer, his servant, to carry the bags to the compartment. And it's very interesting that these people who are made to carry things for other people, it's a nice parallel that we have here between the servant class that Sir Mohanlal uses and the second class English soldiers who carry the bags on their backs, and it is they who kind of hit back at him. They kind of put him in his place. There seems to be something interesting going on in that class structure and its implications and its connections to Sir Mohanlal, which would be interesting to work it out. Now, it's also very important to notice the parallel between the soldiers and Sir Mohanlal in that both of them imbibe alcohol. Both the soldiers and Sir Mohanlal participate in this consumption of alcohol, and that parallel between the two is very interesting. And he says he would speak to the guard. Look at the condescension that he has in the fact that he would intercede on the behalf of the soldiers and get the guard's permission to let them stay on the first class compartment. So both the soldiers and Sir Mohanlal drink alcohol before they board the train. The only difference is that they take their drink to a greater extent, whereas Mohanlal just takes a little bit of it. And then there is an example of free indirect discourse in this statement. He would speak to the God, and the other important thing to notice there is this aspect of condescension that is employed by Sir Mohanlal. There is arrogance there, there is a consciousness of power there, and he thinks that he is in a powerful position to intercede on their behalf when the opposite is true, as the unfolding set of circumstances will tell us. So there is irony in the fact that the guards do not come to the rescue. In fact, the guards' coach is at the far end of the train, in fact next to the Zenana. So they are too far away to come to his rescue when he calls for them. And the fact that he is not protected when he wants protection is also very symbolic and significant, and that underlines the idea that he is not in a powerful position. That power that he thinks that he has is very, very deceptive. So the other irony in Sir Mohanlal's world is this. He thinks that his language is a powerful weapon. His accent, his command over the English language is something that is very, very powerful, and it will get things done. But that is not the case, as we can see in the story. So despite his usage of the Oxford accent, and he doesn't get what he wants. In fact, the soldiers think that they are mistaken when they hear perfect English spoken by this native. So this language does not exercise any kind of authority when spoken by a native Indian. So there is false authority, there is a false sense of authority in Sir Mohanlal's identity. Now, there's also greater irony in the fact that even though these two soldiers, these two drunk soldiers are entitled to travel only in the second class, in this story they appear to be the most powerful. They have the power to throw a barrister and a vizier, Sir Mohanlal, out of the train compartment. So it is in these two drunken English soldiers the British Empire is represented. The identity of the British Empire is communicated through these two English soldiers, not through civilized English gentlemen who treat others fairly and squarely. So the British Empire is juxtaposed through these two drunken soldiers against native officials who arrogantly think that they are in command in particular spaces, whereas they aren't. That is communicated clearly through the unfolding of events in the story. Now, how do we work out the themes in this story? Themes become clear when we analyze the details in the story and when we analyze the character's identity, the character's behavior and actions, and through the relationships that are manifested in the story. So some of the themes that are present in the story are these. That is, the British Empire will admit no equals, even though it appears to state that that is the fact. So Sir Mohanlal mistakenly thinks that he is part of the higher society of the British upper class, but in fact he isn't, and that is made quite clear, that the empire will treat nobody as their equal, nobody especially from the native continent. And the other interesting and important theme is that you will have to pay a price if you demean your own native country and family. So these are some of the themes that are present in the story. I would also like to pick up on the idea of anthropomorphism in karma, which is evident quite early on. The section that I want to talk about happens when Sir Mohanlal is in the waiting room, the first class waiting room, and he looks at his impression, his image on the mirror on the wall, and the mirror is cracking, and he says that you're so very much like everything else in this country, inefficient, dirty, indifferent, he murmured. So he uses the mirror to talk about the country itself. Just as the mirror is crumbling and is damaged, so is this country, and its inefficiency and indifference are kind of associated or connected to the worn out condition of the mirror. And it's interesting to see the imagination of the author here, because he makes the mirror as if it's smiling back. So the mirror almost smiled back, the mirror smiled back at Mohan, and it seems as if the mirror says that you're a bit of all right, old chap, it's sad. So the mirror seems to respond, and the mirror says you are distinguished, you are efficient, and you are even handsome. So we have this anthropomorphic effect here in this particular scene, and it's important to notice that mirrors make very sharp observations here in terms of judging the physical appearance and the mental capacity of this particular central character. Now, some of the questions that we can explore in the story is to think about what was the most important or the most favorite scene for you having read the story. What scenes stay with you when you finish reading the story? What is the most interesting exchange of dialogues in the story? You can even consider the scene that we have just seen here, the conversation between a mirror and a human being. So how do we interpret this very symbolic scene? So these are some of the questions that you can ask. Why do you find certain scenes interesting? Why do you find certain exchanges interesting? Why? So you might want to work out the answers for these questions and see the factors that please you or that annoy you or irritate you. What is the most important message in the story for you? Where does this message reside in terms of the story? The other questions that you might want to ask is this an escapist story? Does the story make you forget about your difficult circumstances or your pressing responsibilities? Does it make you forget all your obligations? So is this an escapist story, a feel-good story, or is it a realistic story? Does it make you think deeply about the issues that affect you once you have read the story? And finally, you can ask, what is the most enjoyable element in the story? Is it the narration? Is it the character? Is it some of the scenes, or is it the crisis in the story? Thank you for watching. I'll catch up with you in the next lecture.